Okay, here we are. It's Bank Holiday Sunday. It's the day after the King's coronation, and I must say I do love a bit of pageantry and ritual. I like all that stuff. Whatever you think of the King, well, but I just love all the marching, and I just love that sort of stuff and all the uniforms, and it's great. Anyway, where are we? Oh yeah, so we're on the Kawasaki. This is a Kawasaki Z900. It's actually a KZ900 to be precise, but we'll come on to that. But it's painted in Z1A colours. So you've got the original Z1 73, Z1A 74, Z1B 75, and then they brought out the Z900s the year later in 76, and this is a Z900. And the difference is that they uprated, every year they upgraded things. So the Z1A is a bit upgraded from the Z1, and the Z1B is a bit upgraded from the Z1A, and so on. But then when they got to after the Z1B, they thought that it's basically just more of a serious upgrade to the Z900. So it's a thicker frame, different instruments, different carbs. Yeah, it's pretty much the same bike, but it's just they just upgraded it more. And then after this, they went on to the Z1000. So this was originally a KZ900. Now that means it was made, or rather assembled, in America, because the Z1 was such a massive hit back in the 70s. Because what was the competition? I mean, I'm a British biker through and through, but here you have 4 cylinders, 4 carburetors, horizontally split crankcase, double overhead camshafts. I mean, overhead camshafts is pretty unheard of, but double overhead camshaft. The Honda 754, that had a single overhead cam. This is double overhead cam and 900cc. Now, back in the day, a big British bike was 650, and then they sort of pushed it to 750 about the time when this came out, and then they couldn't really, but 900, and electric start, of course, and all that sort of stuff. Disc brakes, it was just like, it's a complete starship when this came out. It was like from another planet, almost literally. Anyway, they were such a big hit in America that they actually set up a factory in Nebraska to make the Zs. And this is one that was, well, it's assembled. I think it probably got around tax issues and all that, import duties, because they were assembled. So I think all the engines and that were made, everything was made in Japan, and then exported in crates, whatever, to Nebraska and America, and then they assembled the bikes. And so this was an American bike assembled in Nebraska. It was a KZ900. I don't like the K sort of initial, so I just changed it to Z900. And I love the Z1A colours. I just love this yellow, white, and dark green. The green is an amazing deep metallic, but it only really sparkles when the sun comes out. It probably looks black now. It's the most beautiful sort of deep green. You might just begin to see I've got the light on the camera. When the sun comes out, it's a wonderful deep green. Anyway, and so I had it painted in those colours. But the badge, if it was going to be a total Z1A, the badge would have been different. It would have said Kawasaki double overhead 900 double overhead camshaft, which this one doesn't, because it is a Z. Right, yeah, I mean, it's just a fantastic bike. I've just gone out of storage, for the winter. I haven't done anything to it. So what I did, I put a bit of oil on the chain, and I've checked the pressure in the tyres, which is almost dead on, to be honest. I just put a little bit in, press the button, and I'm not joking, it's just started absolutely just straight away. What was it, 6 months probably since I've ridden it? Probably longer than that, I would say. Yeah, so just a fantastic bike. I mean, I'm a British biker through and through, as everyone knows, but the Z, this came out when I was I was 14 when the first, 15 really, because 73, yeah, and it was just like from another planet, and even though at the time, we used to sort of hate Japanese bikes and take the mickey out of them all the time, Jap crap, rice burners and all that, and sort of really cheap metal, and they'll never last, and blah blah blah. Whereas of course secretly for this we all lusted after a Z1, a Z900, because they're just such amazing. But I mean, even I know I can't. What I'm saying is, even as a British biker, I can't say they're rubbish, because they're just utterly amazing machines. It is. It's, and again, as a British biker, it's great because I get on it and I press a button and I ride it, and the thought of anything going wrong just doesn't really enter my head that much. even though it's what 50-odd-year-old bike. Yeah, so we're going out for a ride. It's warm today, but it's going to be cloudy. But at least it's warm, and so we're just going to go for a tootle. And there we go. This bike I completely rebuilt. There's the manual on it that I did. So this is I completely stripped it and started again with it because it was an American import. It was just pretty rough when I got it. Converted it to twin discs. I think, ironically, in Europe, if you bought a Z900 in Europe, they were fitted for twin discs as standard. But if the KZs were only fitted with single disc, I think the reason being that they sold so many Zs in America. They were such a big hit. They thought, well, why bother putting a second disc on and costing us money when people are, there's a massive queue for the waiting list to buy them. Why bother doing that? Why spend money? The original Z1, Z1A, Z1B, they never had twin discs ever. But again, you could convert them to twin discs because luckily they were made with fitting on the fork leg to take that second caliper. So all of them can be converted if they weren't originally twin disc. Right, there we go. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, things like there's so many things that the Japanese thought of on this bike that the British never thought of. I mean, the engineering is just amazing. The horizontally split crankcases, that the British simply didn't have the tooling to do it. But then there's simple things like the exhaust pipes are double lined, right? So they never go blue. They're double lined, so the inside pipe gets red hot, but the heat doesn't transfer to the outside, so they stay chrome. There's a little thing like that. I mean, the carburetors are amazing. You don't tickle them. You never tickle the carbs. 4 silencers, obviously. This is what the view that most of us used to get of the, wow, 4 pipes. I mean, you didn't have a bike with 4 pipes. If you had a twin, you were king of the road. Hey, man, I got a twin. Look, 4 pipes coming out of the back of the bike in 1973 or whatever was just like, what? Amazing. Again, little things like the mountings here on the indicators. They're oval, so the indicators cannot spin. The British thing where you find the indicator pointing to the ground. It can't happen even if it comes loose because it's an oval fitting, so it can't spin. There's an oval fitting on the inside and then splines on the outside, so even if it gets loose, it doesn't spin. Simple things. And major things like double overhead cam. What? 4 carbs, 4 cylinders. Wet some engine, so there's no oil tank. All the oil's in the engine. Right, crikey, let's get out and go for a ride. Yeah, as you were. I'm back from the petrol station, riding, and just to the petrol station, and it's not right. Actually, it's not running right, and then I suddenly realised it's only running on 3 cylinders. And that's happened to me before, and I guessed, and sure enough, for some reason, the spark plugs overwinter. It's nothing to do with the bike. It's these bloody plugs that overwinter. Something happens, and they just die. It's happened to me before, and so sure enough, I just come back, whip the plug out, put a new plug in, number 2 cylinder there, or rather number 3, isn't it? Yeah, number 3 cylinder there, and fine. Because I got to the petrol station, just patted the silencers, not the headers. And sure enough, number 3 silencer was cold. And I guessed what it was straight away. So I've put a new plug in. And so off we go now, hopefully with 4 cylinders. Well, here we are at our first coffee stop, and I'm just in the sound, within sound of the church bells, which I think is always nice. You know, out at a little country sort of village with the church bells going. Bike, amazing. You know, it's just so smooth. It's just great. You know, it's so easy to ride. It's so easy. Compare it to my old, I mentioned it again, my British bikes, but it's so easy to ride. Yeah. So God knows what a modern bike would be like to ride compared to this. So yeah, just really nice. Just very relaxing to ride because it's so smooth. Yeah, I think the only thing it kind of lacks is the sound for me. You know, that deep the British bike. I really do miss that handling. You know, there's always this thing about the handling, but that's why they beefed up the frames on these because there were But then considering it does 140 miles an hour at 140, I imagine there probably is some weave there, and on the frame, but I'm not going to go near 140, surprisingly enough. So, but anyway, on the Z900s, they beefed the frame up anyway. So, that was another thing we used to say back in the day. Oh, they don't handle. Maybe British bikes probably do handle better, probably, but. I've certainly never thought, oh, this doesn't feel right. Obviously, I don't heel them over as much as perhaps I should do these days. For obvious reasons. Back in the day, you'd get it over. If you didn't scrape the footrest, then you were a sissy. You know what I mean? But nowadays, I'm a bit more circumspect on that side of things. But obviously tooting around, up to 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, whatever. The handling's absolutely fine. So there we go. I'm just There's a bit of sunshine now. We've got the church bells. And so I'm just going to relax, have a coffee and a bacon sandwich. Sounds good to me. So it's a bank holiday Sunday, and we're out at Money Ash, and we got some right old bikes here. So yeah, we got some Dukes there, big Quacker, medium Quacker, got the Rocket 3, and what have we got here? Oh, so this is the first bimotor. So we've got two bimotors. So they have this amazing, the motors, they make the frames, and they're all sort of one-off type bikes. We've got a rather beautiful Z900 here. Wow, that must be the bike of the other lot. And yeah, where's the other motor? So here's the other motor, which is something particularly special because it's got this front leading fork suspension, which I've always known as being Defazio or Dimazio or something. I can't remember the name. They sort of developed it years ago, but it's all space frame and everything. So there's hardly any frame to it. Most of the frame is actually like the engine, really. So an amazing thing. It's all complete one-off. A real one-off bike. And then what have we got? We've got a Yamaha. We've got the Beamers, of course. Oh yeah, I've seen that before, haven't I? I've seen this bike before. It's nice. But so and some Dukes, another Aprilia, big Quacker, is it? Hi, it's a big Quacker, yeah. What bike is it? What's this? Right, yeah. So I'm not up on my modern bikes, so nice. It's a big cruiser, yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Then we got all the off-roaders, off-road boys. What's here? Oh, we got a custom Honda. I've not seen one of those before. So it's a custom Honda bobber. So yeah, so I didn't know they were making one. So now Honda are obviously jumping on the bandwagon there and making their own custom bobber. Nice, looks nice. It's quite sort of small and compact. I don't know what it's called. What's it called? A Honda Rebel. Water cooled, obviously. Well, they have to be these days, but I mean, they're not high. Single cylinder. Single. Is it? I think it's a big single. Or is it a twin? Maybe it's a compact twin. Can't tell. Nice though. What we got here? Yamaha, big Suzuki, and bikes as far as the eye can see. Could do another classic somewhere, but I can't see any classics. So I've got an Indian. Let's have a look at the Indian. So what have they done with this Indian? All right, that's a fairly sort of modern looking Indian. I thought it, they tend to make them fairly retro, but that's definitely not retro. Well, I thought they were retro. Maybe I'm confusing with a different, There's all these, Chinese, Japanese, they buy up the old names of the bikes, Royal Enfield and BSA and etc., and then they tend to make them sort of classic style Triumph, but obviously some of them are making them, they're just saying, oh, forget it, and just making them modern. Anyway, I think there's a piece of cake. There's a piece of cake waiting for me somewhere. Let's have a look. Oh, just checking. Yeah. Oh. And there is my piece of cake. So I'm going to have it. There's another Z come in. Yeah. So mine's up the other end. Right. Let's have a look. Yeah. So yeah, 76. Looking nice. Don't forget your keys. I always leave mine in and out. Oh God.
Yeah, I don't want anybody running off with it.
Yeah. No. Nice. Looks all very original. So anyway, it's good to see another Z out on the on the ride.
Well used, yes.
Yeah, I know, but it's nice, but not. I mean, it's obviously a daily ride, but it's all original.
Pony, yeah, she's nice. Yeah, she's just a nice thing.
Yeah, all jolly good. So that's great to see another Z out. And just a quick one, we've got a Commando, Interstate Commando coming. It's got a Norville electric start on it. Pea shooters, it might well be Norville. It doesn't say it's a Norville, but it's got the upgraded brakes and upgraded electric start on it. So it's a lot of upgrades, new rear shocks, obviously upgraded front brake. floating disc. Yeah, so it's nice. Very comfy. What's comfy? No. Here we are back again. What a wonderful ride that was. What a wonderful ride. Gosh, I so enjoyed that. It's a really warm day today. You know, the sun, you know, it's turned into a really nice sunny day. It looked like it might rain earlier, but it's gone the other way and it's really warm. It's just, you know, and the last few times I've been out and it's been passable, but bloody cold. I don't know if you can see that green now. You can see that now the sun's on it. Can you see the depth of that colour? It's just fantastic. But anyway, I so enjoyed that ride. I wasn't sure to begin with, and then just so enjoyed it. You know, the bike's going really well. Just that spark plug. I've had it before. I don't know why. Over winter, spark plugs they just decide to stop working, and then you think, well, maybe when the engine gets warm and that it will. No, I've had it before. They won't have it. Once they're gone, they're gone. I don't know what happens to them. Something must break inside them, I think. And something that was about standing over winter. Don't ask me why, and they just go. So at least I knew what it was, and sure enough, that's what it was. Just the plug had gone. Unfortunately, quite a bit of horse poo and that all over the damn bike, but that'll come off. That'll come off easy. And we've got that lovely green again. Look, and that sunlight, it's fantastic. Oh yeah, but really enjoyed that. You know, it's such an easy bike to ride this. I mean, God knows what it'd be like to ride a modern bike, because because this compared to my British bikes is like, riding a magic carpet. And I can imagine that a modern new bike would be, another step up again. So I wonder what that would be like. I must get one day. Anyway, yeah, I so enjoyed that. It was nice. Just a little tootle. Didn't really blast it at all. Well, there's a lot of traffic because, of course, it's Bank Holiday Sunday and it's a nice day. And it's later than I would normally go out because of that kerfuffle with the spark plug and one thing and another. It's about 1:30 now, so normally I'm back by 11. So I normally go out early on a Sunday. But A, I'm late, and B, it's Bank Holiday Sunday, and so it was it was as busy as expected. So you come to a nice bit of open road, and there was traffic, and it's sometimes it's a bit difficult to get past that traffic on the windy roads. But gosh, I enjoyed that. Just having a check. Yeah, the bike is just wonderful. Yeah, it just looks like I haven't been out on it. I'm just checking everything, but you'd never know. Normally, one of my other bikes, to be honest, you come back and what's fallen loose this time, what needs adjusting, what isn't quite right this time. But this, you just get on it, you ride it, you park it, and it's just like it's never been out. It's wonderful. Right. Okay. Oh, I'm going to get out of my gear. Leave the bike to cool down a bit. I might give it a bit of a wash. And here's the big news: is I'm probably going to have to sell it. I'm selling it. Yeah. I'm having to sell 2 bikes, and this is going to be one of them. I'm not sure which one the other one is yet, but I'm afraid this one's going because I've got a friend who's got a real classic pre-war bike, a fantastic old bike, and I've always lusted after it and hassled him about selling it, and finally said, "Okay, you can have it if you want it." But it's a beautiful old bike, and it's cost a load of money. So the only way I could afford it is, I'm afraid, by selling. I've got to sell 2 bikes. So and of course this will be top dollar. I don't know what the prices are. I don't know. I'll have to look. I'm guessing around 15,000, to be honest, for this, because it's completely rebuilt, and the history with the manual that goes with it. This is the bike that my restoration manual is based on. So maybe that adds a bit to the value. I don't know. But yeah, God, I'll be sad to see it go. And what the other bike is, but yeah. So I'll be at some point, probably sooner than later. I'll have to sell it. So yeah, because but then I've always wanted this other bike. I've lusted after it. So hell, the only way I could ever afford it would be by selling a bike. I haven't got any other money, so it's just the only way of doing it. But I'll be damn sad to see this go, and I'll probably rue the day I let it go when I'm back on this pre-war matchless that probably leaks oil and this, that, and the other, and don't want to start. But anyway, all good things must come to pass. Yeah, it just needs a bit of a wash. This, I'll probably leave it to cool down, and I'll give it a good wash, just to get all that horse poo and that off it before it dries rock hard. If you know that horse poo, it literally sets like concrete. That's why they used to use it in building walls and stuff. You think, what a horse manure? What? It does set like bloody concrete, that stuff. So, anyway, there we go. All good. Yeah, let me just check. There's one. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's such a lovely bike. Yeah. There we go.